Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, your host, and today I'm here with Sue Schuster. And I am so excited because offline we spent just a couple minutes going through things. And if you have a business, then you should be running your business on business credit, not your personal credit. So she is going to actually talk about that. So Sue, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Sure. I am Sue Schuster. I work with Profit Touring, Try Touring, and BizFi, and I help businesses separate their business and personal finances. So you're utilizing your EIN number to get financing instead of your Social Security number so that you stop personally guaranteeing things and affecting your personal score. Because as entrepreneurs, we'd like to leverage and bootstrap things, but then our personal score is not the best. And we can't finance a home or get a car just for ourselves because the business has taken up all of our credit.
And I can totally relate to this because I usually try to keep my score like 850. For real, like perfect score, right? But there's months where I'll go and I'm like big purchases and I have different credit cards and things. But if it's on my personal and we're talking tens of thousands of dollars, then all of a sudden I go and check my score. I'm like, how it went down like 30 points. This is ridiculous. And then I look at the balance and I'm like, oh, okay, that's why. And so for people out there that are listening, if you're looking to buy a home, because I'm a real estate agent and a lender, and I can say that like that's going to impact you a lot. There was one time when we went to buy a home and they said, okay, you have this huge balance, you're going to have to pay it off. I go, no sweat, I'll pay it off the next month. But they're like, no, like this is affecting you, you don't qualify. I'm like, this is for my business, right? And so I cannot stress, I've started to try to go, but you pointed out that clearly I'm not using the right avenues. And so I've tried to make that switch. But why don't you talk to the audience or our listeners about who you are and what you do to help with that?
Sure. So I was a business owner for 20 years. I owned a swim school actually, and I had no idea what business credit actually was. And then once I got into the coaching space and I help small businesses grow and scale and define whatever their success is, I learned about corporate credit and I learned about lending. And I'm like, well, if I didn't know, who else doesn't know? And who do I need to tell? Which would be everybody. Um, so anybody with the EIN, it's called corporate credit, but it's not corporate. It's anybody with an EIN. So solopreneurs, everybody, all of us. So building corporate credit is kind of a rigged game. You have to know what you're doing. You have to build a credible business first, and that's with your address. Make sure you have a website. So if you were a lender, if you put yourself in the lender's shoes, what would I want to see a business look like before I gave them money? Well, you want to make sure they're a real business and they've been in business or they're doing the right things. And then you have to register with Experian, Equifax, and Dun& Bradstreet. And people skip steps. And when you skip steps and you go for because everybody wants to go right for the vendor lines. And if you ask chat, they're going to say, well, if you want to build corporate credit, then get a vendor line with Uline or Granger or Quill. That's usually where people start. And that's all well and good. But if the three don't know you exist, then you could be building corporate credit. And honestly, most of what we do with corporate credit, we think we're building it. The bank says we're building it. The credit card says we're building it. But then when I run people's reports, I'm like, there's nothing here. They're like, but everybody says I'm building corporate credit. And they are within their little sphere, their little bank, their little credit card, whatever. That is building corporate credit, but it's not in the bureaus. So you have to go through the right steps to build corporate credit. And then you get the trade lines. You don't actually get to skip to that part. You have to do the foundation first.
So interesting because I really thought, and for those of you, like just last week, a couple years ago, I opened up, it was a Delta because they gave you 80,000 points. So I opened up a card in my company name. And then I'm tired of not getting upgraded higher when I go to fly. And so it's a gold credit and I have platinum as a personal. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to upgrade. They gave me 120,000 points. And so I'm going to close out that gold and then I'll just do the platinum. Thinking that these are all my company cards, it's not going to affect my personal, but it does. And you say they don't report on the corporate side. So it's like I'm not building credit like I thought I was.
No, no, it's unfortunate. And it's a rigged game. And I think that people just throw out business credit and then they put your business name on your card and you think it's for the business, but no, you gave them your social security number. It is personally guaranteed.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
SBA loans, personally guaranteed, and they're guaranteed by the government. So guess who comes calling when things go bad? COVID, the SBA loans were actually called. So, and then people lost their houses. They lost their kids' college savings fund. They lose everything. So separating them is key, but it's not always possible, especially when they haven't built corporate credit and they need money now. We can help with that as well.
Interesting. A lot of people talk about the SBA loans or small business loans, but there is a lot that before you take out money, you really do need to know about it and what the repercussions are because,
SBA loans can be great. They are all personally guaranteed, but if that's your only option and you can't get your business off the ground, then by all means, an SBA loan, or maybe you can find one that is not quite as aggressive
Mhm.
as SBA, but still be personally guaranteed so you can move your business. I mean, if it's difference of I can't fund anything, so I don't want to personally guarantee it, but then I don't get to start my business, well, that's not really an option. So you gotta need to understand all of them. I can always help whoever understand whatever type of lending they're looking at and to get the business off the ground or get cash flow loans or I mean, in the flipping space, there's usually a lot of bridge loans going on and we can help with those. And lines of credit are fantastic because you can use them and then pay them off and then use them and pay them off. And it ends up being very, very cheap money when you use a line of credit, especially for something like flipping.
Okay, so for those listeners that don't understand what flipping is, this is a real estate investing situation, and this is what we do. Actually, we've done this, and this pull us out of a $400,000 hole. But you take it and you buy a house, you fix it up, and you need money to fix it up. You need money for the down payment, and then you flip it, and you can turn around and make a whole lot of money, typically.
Right, you sell it to somebody else. So you buy a home, fix it, sell it. Buy a home, fix it, sell it. That's the premise.
So you have an avenue because that just opened up a new type of avenue for, and anybody should do this. Like anybody, real estate is so like I swear by it. It's changed my life, and that's why I became a real estate agent. But with flipping, you can actually, even though you have different houses, you can build a line of credit with your business and use that for the repairs and the down payment.
Yes, of course. So you would build a line of credit on every LLC you have. And this, I was just talking to another gentleman who does 3D printing and manufacturing, and he has a e-commerce side and he has a business side. And he's like, "Well, I'm just going to DBA it." I said, "Oh, no, you're not. You're going to build two companies." He's like, "But it's more expensive." I'm like, "Yeah, but if something goes bad in one company, then you don't want it to affect the other company because, when we're litigious, we're Americans. So we like to sue for things. So do you don't want one company to affect another, and you can build credit on both, and then you can paper it back and forth because you're an owner. There's lots of strategies. I would love to talk more on that, but that
Yeah,
would take a while.
yeah. So you mentioned as a business owner, like I've owned some businesses for, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I've owned some for 10 years and I've owned one. I just opened a new one last month. How do you build the credit? You've mentioned register on Dun and Bradstreet, right?
Mhm. So first, credible business.
Hmm.
So website, address that's not your home, email address that is not your Gmail, cell phone that is not, or a phone that is not your phone. So all these things, I know where a lot of us are home business and we do great things in home businesses, but the lenders look at home business as a kind of like a fly-by-night type thing. They're not. So sometimes we utilize virtual addresses. I would recommend one that is in your area. So if you had to go to it, you could. Um, so credible businesses first.
Hmm.
Make sure your EIN is correct and correctly filed. I can't tell you, like as a real estate person, if you're filed under, I don't know, um, medical services or something, then those things are going to be red flags and you'll get denied. So do that first. And there's a platform that can walk you through all of this. Do that first, and then you register with 411. So they have your phone number, Experian. Business, Equifax Business, and Dun& and Bradstreet. You can register with all of them for free. However, they want to get you to pay because they're businesses themselves. So you kind of have to go through the right hoops. After you've done those two things, then you start applying for trade lines.
And keyword free, because there's a lot of things out there. If you go to Google and there's going to be some sponsor and you end up upselling, like people, when you go to register a business, pay me $185, or when you go to renew a business. And so, I mean, I almost fell for this scam like at the beginning of this year where if you do this, you need to register and it's this much money. I'm like, I've never spent this much money ever in my life to renew. And then I realized it was this scam and
Mhm.
it should be like $18 to renew. So it shouldn't be 185. The other thing is through UPS, you can get an actual street address. It's a PO box, but on some of these you can't have a PO box, right? It has to be,
Yeah, we use a lot of iPostal or Regis.
yeah,
There there's all kinds of things it will do for you. You got to pick what's right for you.
right. Yep. That's so true. Okay. So we've done all that. We've registered and like you pulled up mine and it was some type of a $200. I don't even know what it is. I don't know where it came from.
Right. So, I mean, I usually see things in communication and I can only see groups.
Right.
So I don't get to say, well, this one came from Uline and this one came, it doesn't look at that. I mean, manufacturing's one, retail is one, insurance is one, finance is one, communication is one. So I can only tell you kind of where it is. So the businesses that you're utilizing and getting trade lines through have to pay to report. So often they don't, or they pay, there's an intermediary stage too, like Amex. So I got into it a little bit with a friend of mine who had an Amex card. He said, it's my business card. I said, no, it's not. It's not reporting. Yes, it is. No, it's not. So he ended up calling Amex and they said, well, the good things you do on your Amex card, unless it's the top one, the black card, that is like coveted. Anyway, that one reports. But all the other ones report to the SBFE, which is the intermediary stage, and it doesn't actually get to Dun& and Bradstreet, who's the parent company. But if you miss a payment, that goes right to Dun& and Bradstreet. So there's like 30, 40 of these companies that hold the data before it gets to the big three. Again, because it's yes, it's rigged.
But that actually makes me angry
Doesn't it?
because they're not going to help you. They're just going to hurt you. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
not right at all. That
This
stinks.
is why you got into this mess. Everybody needs to know. Maybe if enough people know, they will fix it.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
But they're making money, so probably not.
interesting. Okay, so what else do we need to know that we don't know?
You need to know to contact me because I will run your business report for you just like I did for you. And we can look at whatever company you want to. And I've looked up the big ones too, like Costco. So Costco is $1 billion company. Their recommended amount is 50 million that they can get in recommended credit. I'm like, well, they don't know what they're doing because their credit is not that great for the amount of money that they make. So, I mean, schedule a meeting. There's a platform that we utilize. It's AI driven. You can go right through it. And as long as you do the steps and you don't think, I'm just going to skip over this and put something in, it will walk you right through everything. And then a coach like me can take you to. But everybody is individuals. And there's not, besides credible company, register, get the vendors, and you have to really dive deep. We have a list of them. But chat is not going to give you exactly what vendors to utilize. That's only going to give you a few. So it'll get you halfway there, but it won't get you all the way there. And we need it to report on the business credit.
Oh, interesting. So how do we get a hold of you?
So best way to get a hold of me is actually my email, which is Sue, S-U-E, at biz-fi.io. Or you can just give me a call, and it's 610-844-3159.
Not everybody gives out their phone number, so that's pretty.
Well, I have a business line. If I get mad, I just turn it off.
That is so good to know. So you have to have a separate phone number. You can't use just your personal cell.
Nope, banks don't like it.
That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Anything that I have not asked you that I should have asked?
Why do I do this? Because I love business owners,
Mhm.
especially us females. And we need to know. So that's why I'm out here spreading the word. And I'd love to help anybody. Just give me a call or find me on LinkedIn or whatnot, and we will get busy.
So real quick, my last question, because I'm like now intrigued because I don't want to have to go to a hard money lender if I can get my own business line for my
Mhm.
flips. Like this is a whole new world that I haven't known about, and I teach how to do this. So, what type of a credit line can you expect?
Totally depends on the lender. So that what we utilize for flipping, we usually start about 4,400.
I
So
was
we can talk about
thinking
that
about this.
offline
Yeah,
and we can get you going on that. But yeah, that's about where it is.
that is crazy. Like, because that is basically, I mean, that's a house. You don't have to get out a hard money loan. So,
No.
so fantastic. Good news for my real estate investors. All right, now let's switch to being a mom, okay? Because this is a
Okay.
question I always have to ask. But if you are sitting on a park bench and this new pregnant mom comes up, first time mom, and now that your kids are where you are and
Yeah.
everything,
Gone.
yeah, what advice would you give that new mom? And I'm not talking just as a new mom, but like, hey, you're going to be a mom now. You need to know this. What would you say?
Prioritize. Because as I was growing my business, there's many times I'm looking in the mirror going, how the heck am I going to be a business owner and a mom? And these completely conflict. And they do. And don't think of your life as business life and personal life because you only have one life.
Mhm.
So this is all part of the coaching I do as well. So make sure you prioritize, make sure that think about the end game. Where do you want this to be? What is more important? Is your business more important? For some people it is. Is the kids more important? So make sure you're there for the big things. Don't sweat the small stuff. And the small stuff, well, actually the small stuff can be more important. Family dinner for us, extremely important. Making the kids' baseball, softball games extremely important. Making their dance recital, that those drive me absolutely insane. So, if I only got to half of it, that was fine. And then enlist help. Make sure you get your help. And Game Changer, there's apps. You can be on FaceTime and see their little bit of the dance recital and then leave for the rest. But really prioritize what is important to you. And be there for your kids because they really your business can be your legacy unless it's really big, but your kids really are. So, yay.
You know what? This is something that really impacted me, and I kind of talked about this on my 200th episode. That it's we were sitting in a room last week, and I'm actually just going to shout out his name. I never drop his name, but I'm going to because kudos to him. That there was over 100 people in this room, and he was mid-sentence up at the front talking to us about some things. He's coaching us because we're talking about multifamily deals. It's Grant Cardone. And he, like in the mid-sentence, he looks at his phone and he goes, "Hey, Sabrina. Yeah, what's up? Yep, I'm down here. Yeah, okay." And like every single call, like I've ever been on any type of meeting I've ever been in, he could have 2,500 people. He could have, well, he didn't deal with 5,000, but it doesn't matter. If his kid calls, he takes that phone call. And I'm
Right.
like, oh my gosh, because I'm showing homes or I'm doing things and I get a call, I don't answer my phone. And my kids have learned. Like this is, I think, the hardest thing. Sorry, I just have this puppy that we just got, but um
We just adopted one from the pound as well.
you will not like he has to stay on your lap to sleep. Like it's crazy. But like he's so spoiled. But anyway, my daughter was in a car accident, a super bad car accident. She could have died. Totaled her car on Saturday. And my husband is not her blood father, it's her stepfather. But her first call a minute after it happened was to my husband, wasn't to me. And that hurts,
Hmm.
right?
I had that moment. I had that moment because the second grade thing came out, and I do have to run them, but the
Yeah.
second grade thing came out, and it was a collage for Mother's Day, and the word on there was tired, like a word, outstanding, amazing, beautiful, blah, blah, tired. And I looked at that, I'm like, why is mom tired? And my daughter, who's now 21, said, well, mom, you always say that. Well, you're tired. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, that hurt. I'm not so that name that not that tired got out of my vocabulary, And it was my excuse for everything when I didn't want to answer questions. Why is the sky blue? Why is this? I'm tired. I don't want to deal with you right now. But I'm like, oh yeah, that was my grounding.
Yeah.
Be there for your kids.
Yeah, they are. I'll let you go because I know we need to. But thank you so much for being on. And this is amazing information. Unbreakable Moms, you need to contact her because you need to build your business, get your personal out of it for liability, for money, for everything reasons. So thank you so much for being on.
All right, perfect.
Bye. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.